Hello everyone and welcome back to Zelda Retrospectives. My name's Leopold and today we're going to be taking a look at my thoughts on the N64 Zelda games, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Now, of course, this is going to be split into two videos. The first one is going to be about Ocarina of Time, the first 3D Zelda game that came out the same year that I was born. And you're probably looking at this and thinking, this is definitely not Ocarina of Time. And you would be right, because it is not. It's Twilight Princess HD for the Wii U. Um, However, I do not have Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask on my Wii U Virtual Console or my Wii Virtual Console. I own the 3DS versions of both games. So, um, this is the part where I start substituting games again, much like I did with the first two Zelda games. um, because I do not own those games either. I only own the first game on my 3DS, and I'm not able to record from my 3DS. So, like, I could have Ocarina of Time in my 3DS right now, which I don't, and I can play it, but I can't record it. So, it's always an issue, but that's alright. We'll make it work. I'm just gonna talk over this gameplay of what I thought of Ocarina of Time. So, with that little intro out of the way, I'm gonna use the rest of this part of the video to talk about Ocarina of Time, the first 3D Zelda game that set the standard for like the entire series, and is seen as one of the most iconic, one of the best games in history, like one of the best games ever. Um, Honestly, I can somewhat agree. It's a game that um, that I feel everybody needs to play. Period. It's right up there with Arkham City and Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I'd say as like games that everybody just needs to play because they're just that great. And thing is that I don't think the Ocarina of Time is all that great. It's very basic, and for what it's worth, that's fine because it's the first of its kind. However, it's just a little bit annoying that every game after it literally does everything that it did, but does it better. So like, we'll get into that as we go along. But yeah, Ocarina of Time was the first Zelda game to be 3D, and it has basic stuff. It has basic combat. You swing the sword with the B button, and you can hold up your shield with the target button and the the R button up. This is just a move that he can do in Twilight Princess, which is the shield attack, which comes back in Skyward Sword. And sorry for the audio, I haven't turned up my TV, um, but I will fix that by the next part. I don't want to like turn it up right now because the remote's not right next to me. But the gimmick of Ocarina of Time is that you time travel between Link as a child and Link as an adult, and basically you could say that it took some pages from A Link to the Past, and I can see where you're coming from with that because the time travel thing, um, and all that stuff. It has the Master Sword in it. Um, Basically, in A Link to the Past, after the first three dungeons, which I have gotten through, by the way, you get the Master Sword, which is it's really nice to get. And after the first three dungeons in basically any Zelda game, you get the Master Sword, and it's just become a stereotype. And you can thank Ocarina of Time for a lot more of the tropes that you see in Zelda games, like Link having a green tunic, him having a sword named Epona, or a sword, I mean a horse. A sword named Epona. Okay, it's kind of interesting. Link having the Master Sword and at some point having to obtain the Hylian Shield. That's a cliche or a trope that's in Zelda. That's, I guess, going to be in Breath of the Wild because I heard that you can get the Hylian Shield in that game. It's a little bit disappointing to me because that kind of defeats the purpose of item degradation systems in that game, but you know, it's an option. We'll get to that again in Skyward Sword when I get to that game. I love that game. That's my favorite, and you can get the Hylian Shield in it. It's just that, like, sometimes the games force it, or like, you have to get it. Like in Ocarina of Time, you have to get that Hylian Shield, and that's basically your shield as an adult and as a child until you need to switch to the shield that you had as a child, which is a little bit, I mean, like, for that game it's fine, but like for later games it can be a little annoying, depending on your timing with getting it. Like, if it's a good time to get it, like around the middle of the game, that's fine. Like this game, it's the same as Ocarina of Time in terms of getting the Hylian Shield. But you know, again, I'll get into that later whenever we actually get to this game in depth. But but so Ocarina of Time, I just feel like it's just not as good as people say. Like, it's a good game. Don't get me wrong. It's a very good game, and I feel like everybody just needs to play it because it has an important place in history. But it's just not my favorite one. I'm sorry. Like, it's not even in my top 3 anymore because I played A Link Between Worlds, and that game is fantastic. But, you know, everybody has their opinions, so personally, I think that the simplicity of Ocarina of Time makes it like the go-to Zelda game, or at least one of them. It's definitely one that I would recommend over like starting with Breath of the Wild, because I feel like if you play Breath of the Wild first, not to judge, but like, you're gonna have your standards up way too high by playing the newest entry in a series, and then like you go backwards, which is why I always say that if you want like the ideal Zelda experience, like for a first timer, you should play like either this game or Ocarina of Time. More so Ocarina of Time, so that you can like get into more of the lore, and you know, you can like actually get what people are talking about whenever they talk about theories. But that's just me. Um, so Ocarina of Time allows you to be on a horse while you're an adult, which is nice. However, it makes Kid Link kind of annoying to me because he moves so slow. And Hyrule Field is so empty. Like, if you thought this game was empty, this is an improvement, sort of, because there's still stuff to find. It's just that it's all empty, and there's just like a few enemies, and that's it. And then like you see people in walkthroughs just do this over and over again with Kid Link, or at least until they have the horse, and he can't ride the horse at all, Child Link, which is really, really annoying. It leaves him at a disadvantage that makes the game feel a little slow. And then the second half of the game is basically just you switching between kid and adult forms to do certain things, which is I guess that's nice. Um, but you know, if there's always been my preference, it's always been the adult Link. Always. And then I guess in the last minute, let's talk about Navi. So Navi is interesting. She's annoying, but she's not the worst companion. We'll get to that in Majora's Mask. um, Navi is probably one of the worser ones, but you know, she's tolerable. She just has a really annoying voice. But she was helpful. She gave you information on enemies. She kept you like she gave you help whenever you were like stuck. And then what else? Basically, she was like your targeting system. Nowadays, the targeting system has been simplified. They don't tie it into the story or anything. But you know, it's nice that in the N64 days, they actually did do that. So, next time, I'm going to get to another game that people consider one of the best, and that's Majora's Mask, which is an interesting one. I have mixed feelings on that one still. But, anyways, this has been Ocarina of Time, that part of the video. So I'll see you all for the Majora's Mask portion in just a few moments. Hello everyone, my name is Leopold and welcome back to my Zelda Retrospectives. This is part 2 of the Ocarina of Time Majora's Mask mashup. And basically we're going to be taking a look at Majora's Mask, which is, for some people, the darkest Zelda game. And I can kind of agree in some ways. But we're going to get into that. Let's start with the things that I disliked about the game. First off, it feels kind of long, but at the same time it feels a little short. Um, Basically, the game only has 4 dungeons to offer, which is really annoying. But, excuse me, the thing is that, in order to get your fill of the game, or like to feel like you got your money's worth, then you have to play through the side quests. If you don't play through the side quests, then you miss out on a lot of stuff. You miss out on a lot of story elements, you miss out on a lot of backstory, all that stuff. And, in that case, I could say that Majora's Mask is a unique game. It's not my favorite game. It's not my favorite thing for a game to do, but, it's nice to have the story be optional. And, there's, like, so much freedom that you get in the game. And it also has the most amount of heart pieces in a Zelda game, period. Because it has so little dungeons, they added in a lot more heart pieces. So, I guess that's nice. And then we have the time limit system, which is my biggest issue with Majora's Mask that makes me not like it as much as the others. Majora's Mask adds in a time limit, a 3-day time limit, which is basically the equivalent to 3 hours. Now, like real time, 3 hours. Now, this isn't that much of an issue in some ways, but, it can be a little bit annoying. It's one of the reasons why I don't, consider it my favorite or, the best Zelda game ever. But, it wasn't as bad the second time going through. Like, the first time I got, maybe 2 game overs because of that. But, going through it again, it was not as bad. But I still don't like it. And, what else did I not like? They have a little bit of sequel-itis in Majora's Mask where you can, you meet another fairy companion, and, their name is Tattle. And they have their sibling Tail. And the thing is that Tattle is a bitch. She's rude. She always gives you bitchy comments. She's not that helpful. And she stays the same throughout the whole game. I'm dead serious. It's so annoying how the character doesn't really show any sign of change. And I get that they were I get what kind of character they were going for, because I'm recording this on a few days after I saw the Lego Batman movie, and we have those characters that are I don't like to show my emotions, but the thing is that throughout that movie he grew, he changed, he didn't stay the same. Tattle still stays the same. She just says bitchy comments about Link, and then, behind his back, she basically apologizes for it, that makes up for it. No, it doesn't make up for it at all. It just makes you a bitch. And it really is annoying whenever, they've already done the companion thing one time. You'd think that they would improve on it, because Navi is kind of basic. That's my only real complaint with her, that she's kind of basic. But Ocarina of Time in general is a basic game, so I can kind of forgive that. Majora's Mask has so many layers to it, and so many different characters that all experience some type of growth, that you would think that Tattle would be among them. But no, she doesn't really grow that much. I guess you could say that she's sort of matured by the end of the game, but I don't know, I didn't see it. You take control of Kid Link, right after the events of Ocarina of Time. I won't spoil that game for those of you who haven't played it. Chica Zelda. Sorry about that. Sorry, I had something caught in my throat. But uh, Majora's Mask, it's just it's an experience, I would say. It's one that you'd have to play for yourself in order to really understand. It has a lot of controversy in some ways because of the dark storyline and the events that happen at some points in the game, but it's not really something that I would consider the darkest Zelda game. It has a lot of depth. It's more emotional than most Zelda games, but it's not really the darkest one. Like, there are some points where it gets kind of freaky, and it's just like, it's more depressing than anything. It leaves you empty by the end of it, in my opinion. But the reason why I don't say it's the darkest Zelda game is because the art style. Now, in this game, the art style is really realistic. Like, Epona looks like a real horse. Um, Link looks like he would if he were in real life. Um, and I'll get to some of the enemies and how they look whenever I get to this game in depth. Ah, come on now. Ah, fuck it then. But, yeah, and you can actually ride a horse in this game as the Kid Link, which is nice. But, yeah, the art style is just way too cartoony for me to take this seriously. And, you know, I get that it's a 17-year-old game at this point, but come on now. Maybe someday if they gave it, like, an art style that looked similar to Twilight Princess, or, like, they made the graphics look more realistic, then I would respect it more because like I would actually be like, oh yeah, that's kind of scary looking at it now in a 3D perspective, and it looks like something I could easily see in real life. Yes, that's creepy as hell. But yeah, that I mean like it's just jarring in my opinion. So talked about the gameplay. It's basically the same. They didn't really change the combat in the game from Ocarina of Time, which is good. You know, don't if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Um, what else did they do? Also, here's a creepy little Easter egg. Yeah, you probably can't see it very well, but he is just like looking there, and the Master Sword is black, and his eyes are showing. It's a little creepy, but that's because that's a mirror, by the way. I'll show it off whenever we get to this game, but anyways, I'm coming up on time, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. So Majora's Mask is a great game. I don't recommend it over Ocarina of Time. If anything, I recommend Ocarina of Time more just because it's easier. Like, if you're trying to get into the Zelda series, don't play Majora's Mask first. If you're trying to get into it, play either Twilight Princess or Ocarina of Time first. And I also honestly feel like Majora's Mask, it's a better game than Ocarina of Time, though. If that makes any sense. I recommend Ocarina of Time over Majora's Mask, but it's a better game than Ocarina of Time. And the reason why I say that is because it has more layers to it. The story's not as basic, depending on what you do. Yeah, I just threw that up there. And it's got the same controls as Ocarina of Time, but it's just like, it's one of those games where if you don't do everything that you can, then you know, you won't like get the full experience. You won't get the full extent of what you're playing. And you know, that's kind of how I feel with Breath of the Wild. You want to play everything that you can. You don't want to like go straight to the final boss. Like they say, oh, well, you can go straight to the final boss if you want to. No. Like, I don't know anybody who's actually going to do that. They want to be like super OP before they go to the boss, because that's what makes the game more fun. Not just having the freedom to do stuff, which Majora's Mask also did very well, but like having like this sense of I'm so powerful that nothing can really beat me. But anyways, that concludes my thoughts on Majora's Mask. I'll see you guys next time.